Chairman, and let me thank the committee, and I know you've been at this for a while. The chairman and Mr. Hastings and I were here when we balanced the budget at a previous time, and we had years of surplus. I come today to suggest that the base bill, which would still run up about $8 trillion worth of debt, it wouldn't balance our budget until 2040, and at that point we would still have over $10 trillion in debt or mortgage on our country, that we should do more. I offer an amendment that I ask that the committee consider, which would set aside a 1% transaction fee, exempting transactions in personal accounts, but to pay down the national debt. We have over $900 trillion in transactions in our economy, and people do transactions in our economy because our courts provide protection, because we have a regulated banking system, and to get out of debt, essentially, so that we can have economic growth and we can move our country forward. We spend a lot of time, Democrats blaming the Bush years for the debt and the deficit, and Republicans blaming President Obama. The truth is, all appropriation bills and all revenue bills are the responsibility of the Congress, and we can't evade that responsibility. And I think that given the fact that we're the wealthiest country in the world, there's really no reason for us to be the greatest debtor nation. We should get out of debt. We should do it now. My proposal is to do that, and secondly, to usher in some serious tax reform. My amendment would also, at the conclusion of the 10 years, or at the conclusion of us being out of debt, eliminate or repeal the income tax. We've had it for over 100 years. Part of the challenges that we have now is that all of our economic competitors use consumption taxes, whether it's China or the European Union and others, and we're going to need, with an economy based on consumption, we're going to need a consumption-type vehicle to raise the revenue that we need. I thank the Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fattah, for being here for that, and that sounds like a perfect item for the Ways and Means Committee, which I know is going to be looking at the issue of tax reform, and I want to encourage you to continue to pursue that. Ms. Fox. Mr. Hastings. Mr. Woodall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say to Mr. Fattah, as a fan of the fair tax and the consumption tax, myself, I have looked at your transaction tax with great interest, and I look forward to working with you to move us away from an income tax that punishes productivity and towards a consumption tax that gets us on track to pay down our debts.
Ms. Polis.
I thank you, gentlemen.
We had one, compliment Mr. Fattah, and all the other groups have come before us. We have some excellent ideas to reduce the deficit, and that's exactly what our charge is. And I see members taking that very seriously, and we see some wonderful proposals for us to consider, and hopefully we'll be having a good discussion on the floor of the House.
Mr. Nugent. Mr. Scott, Mr. Webster, Mr. Reed. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here.